Welcome to Embrace Change and Steal Your Style, the podcast where we explore the messy, beautiful process of transformation and the bold craftsmanship of living on purpose. I'm Grayler1, and in each episode, we look at the different types of change we all face, from the shifts we choose to the ones that choose us. We'll explore these through real-life stories and a connection to the handcrafted chainmail jewelry of Neil MacKinnon's Grailware. Because just like a Grailware bracelet or necklace, a life of style and substance is woven one ring at a time. Episode 1. One ring at a time. Welcome to the very first episode of Embrace Change and Steal Your Style. I'm so glad you're here. Today, we're diving into a myth that keeps a lot of us stuck. The idea that to change your life, you have to change everything all at once. We're told that if it isn't a big leap, it doesn't count. But if you've ever held a piece of Grailware, one of Neil MacKinnon's chainmail bracelets, you know that's not how strength is built. Strength is built ring by ring. Today we're talking about incremental change versus big leaps, and we're going to look at it through the lens of what I call grailness. Before we go deeper into change, I want to introduce a word that captures the feel of this whole series for me: grailness. Think of a grail, and then let's add a nest to it, a state, a quality, a degree. When we add nest to a word, we're talking about being wrapped in that condition. So grailness is your state when you're chasing a dream, the link between what is and what can be, you, in discovery mode, engaging with your passion. In simple terms, grailness is questing. It's not about already having the grail, it's about being on the quest, on that adventurous journey, exploring. It's the state of being on purpose, even if you don't know the whole map yet. This is discovery mode. We sometimes make the mistake of thinking that purpose is a perfectly defined destination, a job title, a role, a finished product. But grailness is actually that in-between state. You're not where you started, you're not where you're going to end up. You're somewhere in the middle, following a thread of curiosity and care. I once had this driven, almost anxious energy about learning to code. I thought the hard part was mastering the syntax, the languages, the tools, like trying to memorize every possible jump ring size and reef pattern. So I asked someone who really knew their stuff, someone fluent in multiple programming languages, how to even start. They just smiled and said, "Coding is the easy part. What to code, that's the hard part." That completely reframed things for me. The challenge wasn't just shoving more information into my brain. It was discovery. What did I care about enough to build? What problem or story or world did I want to bring into existence badly enough to spend hours with it? That's grailness, not just piling up skills like rings in a drawer, but choosing a pattern, a purpose that you're willing to weave toward ring by ring. And that's also where creativity and the soul meet. There's this form of cosmic connection we yearn to complete. Some of us do. The rest of us keep striving, not just for the finished masterpiece, but for the splendor of being on the journey. A journey to discover what we've glimpsed, that little flash of this matters, and deciding it's important enough to give it more of our precious, limited time. So when we talk about incremental change today, and when we talk about Grailware bracelets and necklaces, we're really talking about grailness, that sacred, ordinary state of being on a quest, on purpose, one ring at a time. Years ago at a market, there were two bracelets singled out on a table that Grailware chainmail originals had on display. At first glance, they looked almost the same. One was made in a rush. Neil had an idea, stayed up too late, tried a brand new pattern in one night. Big leap energy. It was flashy, dramatic, and honestly, a little fragile. The other bracelet took weeks. Same metal, similar look. But it was built slowly, in tiny chunks of time between everything else. Neil would add 10 rings, then put it down. Come back the next night, add 12 more. No drama. just steady work. When people tried them on, something interesting happened. They were drawn to the flashy one first. Wow, this one is wild. But when it came time to buy, they would almost always choose the quieter bracelet. Neil started asking why. People would say things like, "This one feels solid. I could wear this every day. It just fits." That day I realized we often admire big leaps, but we trust incremental change. Big leaps aren't bad. Sometimes they're essential, but there are at least 2 ways to change. 1. Big leaps, high-risk, high-visibility moves. They rewrite the map. 2. Incremental weaving, small, repeatable actions that gradually build a new pattern. The most real transformation is some dance between the two. The question isn't, which is better. The better question is, what kind of change does this season of my life really call for? If your life right now feels like a tangled pile of loose rings, a giant leap might sound appealing. Sweep the table, start over. But what if, instead, you pick one strand you care about? Add 1 ring today, 1 email, 1 honest conversation, 1 tiny practice. Repeat. Grailware designs pieces of jewelry that specifically embody that. Simpler weaves, built deliberately, slowly. The reminders that steady doesn't mean small, it means trustworthy. Let's talk about Sam. Sam wanted to embrace change, but he tried to do it with a sledgehammer instead of a pair of pliers. On January 1st, he decided to have a new life day. He was going to wake up at 5 a.m., run 5K, meditate, journal, eat perfectly, and write a novel. All at once. By January 7th, he was exhausted and felt like a failure. He tried to take a big leap and ended up falling into the gap. One afternoon, he saw a display of Neil MacKinnon's Grailware. He picked up a heavy, intricate Chainmaille bracelet and asked, "How long does this take?" Neil told him, "It's always the same rule, 1 ring at a time." Sam realized he'd been trying to finish the whole bracelet of his life in a week. He wasn't in discovery mode, he was in panic mode. He needed to steal his style by slowing down and focusing on the next single link. Think about your habits as jump rings. 1 glass of water is a ring, 1 page of a book is a ring, 1 10-minute walk is a ring. When you add 1 ring, it doesn't look like a bracelet yet. It looks like a mess of metal. But as you stay in that state of grailness, as you keep questing, those rings start to form a weave. The irony is that we admire the forevers it takes to make a Grailware necklace, but we resent the forevers it takes to change our own lives. We need to embrace the process. If you want to steal your style, you have to be willing to be the person who shows up for the boring work of closing 1 ring today and another tomorrow. So, what is your ring for today? Don't try to build the whole necklace by sunset. Just find 1 thing that puts you in discovery mode. Find 1 small act that moves you from what is toward what can be. That is grailness. That is being on a quest. Thanks for listening to Embrace Change and Steal Your Style. Take a look at Neil MacKinnon's work this week. Look at the thousands of tiny decisions that make up 1 piece of jewelry and let it remind you that your life is being woven with that same level of care. You've been listening to Embrace Change and Steal Your Style with Grailer 1. If today's episode helped you find your next ring, please share it with a friend who's on their own quest. You can find more about the weaves we discussed and see Neil MacKinnon's incredible Grailware collections at grailware.com. Join us next time as we discuss planned versus accidental change. Until then, stay in discovery mode and keep stealing your style.